Massive voter fraud in Muslim areas. No challenge because of political correctness. Massive levels of electoral fraud have gone unchallenged as a result of political correctness, according to an official new report from the UK government. The Telegraph reports that a new report commissioned by former Community Secretary Sir Eric Pickles reveals that UK authorities are in a state of denial and are turning a blind eye to election fraud in heavily populated Muslim areas. According to the report, voter fraud is occurring especially in communities of Pakistani and Bangladeshi background, but concerns have been largely ignored due to oversensitivities about ethnicity and religion. The new information confirms reports repeatedly raised by Breitbart London. In 2014, Breitbart London reported on threats and chaos at Tower Hamlets polling stations. First Lady of the U.S. Michelle Obama visited a school in Tower Hamlets in the summer of 2015 where she declared, "When I look out at all these young women, I see myself. In so many ways your story is my story." She added, in her speech to the Mulberry School for Girls, most of whom wear hijab clad, that the area was full of families who are tight-knit, with strong values. According to the Telegraph, the new report sees Sir Eric warning that challenging issues over community cohesion should not be an excuse for failing to uphold the rule of law and protect British liberties. His recommendations include banning officials from using any other language than English to communicate with voters at polling stations, as well as calling for voter identification and police cordons around polling stations. According to Sir Eric, who was removed as Community Secretary in May 2015, a lack of action by police to tackle electoral fraud sends a worrying signal that the police are soft on tackling and prosecuting electoral fraud, when faced with competing operational demands. He said, "We should never be frightened to look under the rock when what is crawling underneath threatens us all. It is time to take action to take on the electoral crooks and defend Britain's free and fair elections." And he specifically attacked foreign languages used to communicate with voters at polling stations. The report highlights abuses of postal voting and evidence of pressure being put on vulnerable members of some ethnic minority communities, particularly women and young people. There were concerns that influence and intimidation within households may not be reported, the report states, and that state institutions had turned a blind eye to such behavior because of politically correct oversensitivities about ethnicity and religion. Sir Eric added, "Our nation has a proud heritage as the mother of parliaments, yet the worrying and covered spread of electoral fraud and state of denial by some bodies threatens that good reputation. It is time to take action to take on the electoral crooks and defend Britain's free and fair elections."